Hi, this is Abul Hussain coming to you direct from London, the United Kingdom, and welcome to another episode of the SMMA Mastermind podcast, where we talk about how you can start or scale your digital marketing agency. And we also bring on subject matter experts to share their wisdom with us so that we can grow our businesses and also deliver better results for our clients. Now, if you are watching this video outside of our Facebook group, make sure to find the link above or below this video, or go to smmamastermind.com, especially if you're in the agency community and you want to network with 2,500 other like-minded individuals. Enough of that. I have a very special guest joining me all the way from Middlesbrough, Massachusetts. And well, I suppose I cannot give her a good enough introduction. She's been featured on TEDx, on the Huffington Post, on Thrive Global, started her digital marketing agency when she was 19 back in 2016, and crossed six-figure revenues by the end of 2018. Her name is Ashley Mason, and she is the founder of Dash Social, as well as student to CEO. Ashley, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Abul.
Thank you so much for joining me. Now, for the people who might not know who you are, how about a little bit of an introduction?
Absolutely. So, as you mentioned, I own the marketing firm Dash of Social, which I started in September 2016. The reason why I actually started that company is because I had first started out having a hobby, which was blogging. So, through blogging, which I started my fashion and lifestyle blog in 2012, I realized I was spending a lot of time creating content just to only have my family reading the posts. So I said to myself, how can I actually reach the right audience and be able to provide value to them? And that's when I realized that social media was the answer of being able to get my content seen in front of the right readers. So that way I was able to grow my blog and really work on building different connections. So through social media, I was able to grow my blog. As I mentioned, I became a micro influencer and worked with various small companies on paid partnerships. This was about 2012, 2013 when this time happened. And I realized that many of these companies were barely using social media, if at all, to build their brand. But I saw through my own experience how important it was to leverage an outlet such as social media to really provide value and get seen in front of the right people. I started working with these companies on a pro bono basis just to get my feet wet and help them out. But once I had the experience and really was able to provide them with great results, I stepped into the freelance world, which I started freelancing in about 2014 at the beginning of my senior year of high school. And I eventually started Dash of Social about 2 years later in September 2016 at the beginning of my sophomore year of college. And long story short, hustled over the next 3 years to take it full time almost 2 years ago in May 2019.
That's absolutely awesome. And that's such a great story. And I'm glad that you shared the whole bit about kind of working pro bono to build your rep, to, I suppose, get that initial roster of clients giving you a testimonial. I always find that people, especially freelancers or people who are looking to become a freelancer, they're always conflicted between whether they
Mm.
should start charging people when they do not have a portfolio, or whether they should work for free. And if they are to work for free, how long should they work for free? What would your advice be to them?
That's a great question. So for me, the reason why I worked pro bono is because I really only had my own experience beforehand. So I didn't feel right charging someone off the bat because I hadn't really done much with marketing outside of my own realm with my blog. But I think for anyone who already has that experience in the industry that they're in, then absolutely charge. But for those who are looking to do pro bono work, for me, I did 3 months. So I would say, okay, I'll manage your social media profiles for 3 months, because truthfully, it takes about 90 days for any marketing results to kick in. And then that way I was able to have a little bit of traction and be able to build those results from there. Once the 3 months ended, either our work together could end or they would be able to sign on for a paid price.
Right. Okay, that makes total sense. And did you have a lot of people converting to paying clients after that, or how was that part of
I
your
did,
journey?
yes, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much everyone ended up becoming a paying client after, which was really nice. And kind of like my end goal was to be able to show my value to these companies and have them hire me to continue moving forward even after our work together was supposed to technically end.
Okay, that's awesome. And then I suppose you started taking this more seriously when you started, well, in your second year of college, I suppose, how did you go about kind of knocking on doors, signing up new clients whilst also completing your degree?
Yes. So I say, thankfully, I've been blessed with great time management skills because having to manage it all was definitely a challenge. And I always say that literally every free second I had was either spent completing schoolwork or working on my business. I always said that I had truly no idea what the concept of being bored felt like because I just was utilizing all my time as much as possible. But that was one thing that I did a lot, was just be able to clearly outline my schedule. So that way I was able to dedicate certain days and times to focusing on school, and then the rest would all be spent on the business. So it's really important to take the free time that you have and leverage it as much as possible to be as productive as you can.
Hmm. And in terms of kind of outreach methods, people are always confused, especially freelancers. Do I need to do cold calling or cold emailing, or do I walk into the premises of a business? How did you go about procuring clients yourself?
So I tried cold emailing at the beginning, and I realized it was something that was taking me a lot of time and yielding almost no results. So I decided to switch gears, and what I've actually done from the very beginning, which still brings me the vast majority of my clients, is actually engaging in Facebook groups. So I spent a lot of time being able to identify Facebook groups where my ideal client would exist and work on building awareness and thought leadership within that group by just sharing more about myself, giving free advice about marketing and things like that. And so now, about 4.5 years later, as I mentioned, Facebook groups still bring in the bulk of my clientele. At about 70 to 80% of my clients come from
Oh,
those
wow.
communities.
Okay. That's interesting because I know some people are obviously using Facebook groups to kind of grow their influence and whatnot. You're probably the first guest who has actually suggested that as a tactic in terms of
Mm,
going out there and grinding online and building those connections, as you say. And if you're trying to sell social media services, surely your prospects will be on social media themselves. So in terms of the
mhm.
work that you're currently doing, um, do you work in a particular niche or industry, or do you kind of have some other parameters that you use?
Yeah, so we work with clients across the board, which I say is really interesting and fun because since we work in so many different industries, everything we do is completely different. So it really helps to keep our creativity and inspiration flowing. But that being said, we do tend to work with a lot of health and wellness companies. We work with other marketing agencies where they will subcontract their clients out to us. We work with a lot of real estate agents, photographers, and wedding vendors.
That's interesting because a lot of agencies out there, you see some who are obviously totally generalist, a bit like yourself, and then you have those who are like swearing by you need to niche down because that is
Hmm.
the best way to grow your agency. Have you tried to work in a niche before, or have you kept it quite general from the beginning?
I've kept it quite general from the beginning, but I've kind of found that I somewhat have a few different niches because the fact that with those categories that I just listed, I have a bulk of clients that come from those industries. But mostly, I'm open to accepting anyone and everyone in the industry as long as I feel they're a good fit for a client.
Mhm. And in terms of the results your clients expect from you, what are you actually doing day to day for them?
So in terms of results, one of the things that we of course show is increase in audience, but also website traffic. So many of my clients understand that social media is not meant for sales. Instead, it's working on being able to build brand awareness and get people onto your website because it's your website that will convert them to purchase that product or invest in that service. So we focus a lot on being able to use social media as that vehicle to bring people to a site. So that way they're able to learn more about who you are, what you do, and how you can help them.
Hmm. And do you ever kind of measure success against sales, revenue, these, I suppose, higher targets? I suppose, do your clients try to work out a return on investment in terms of kind of engaging with you guys?
Not with sales, no. What we show in our reports and what they'll see is we'll pair Google Analytics with their social media so that way they can see the increase in website traffic and the amount of visitors that have gone to their site from there.
Right. Okay. No, that's quite interesting because a lot of people are always worried about, well, I can't generate sales, or if I'm going to charge someone $1,000 a month, surely they'll expect 10,000 back or something like that. So it's quite refreshing that, there are other metrics that a business will be interested in, growing their audience, growing their traffic, where you can provide value, I suppose. So in terms of your kind of internal setup, how big is your team right now? Is it just you and a couple of other freelancers, or do you have like employees? How's it going on your side?
Yes, so I have 8 team members that work with me. They are all subcontractors. So we have an SEO specialist, we have 3 content writers, and then we have 4 marketing associates.
Hmm. And in terms of running the agency, what's your role in it?
So my goal is to be more so, or what I'm trying to be is more so step into that CEO role. So I'm kind of like the manager who's kind of oversees everyone's tasks and responsibilities, but it's mostly the team members who will do the bulk of the client work. So they kind of handle those day-to-day administrative support tasks, while I'm more so focusing on the strategy for clients. I do a lot of sales and I focus on business development and growth.
Right. And in terms of like you're keeping in touch with your clients, doing the monthly reporting, etc., or even the weekly reporting, is that
Mm.
something that you're doing, or do you have like account managers or anything like that?
So we have our team members who will end up pulling together the reports, but I'm the one who's creating a video for each report and sending that to the client. And I frequently communicate with the clients myself.
Right. Okay. So I suppose in terms of you've been going for a couple of years now with your agency. What's next for you on the horizon?
I definitely consider myself to be a multi-passionate person. So I have many business ideas that I would eventually like to launch one day. Not sure what that day will be or which idea will come first, but that's eventually my goal with the marketing firm, is to definitely take more of a step back from it. So that way I'm still definitely involved with client communication and strategy and growth, but not more so doing all of that day-to-day type stuff. So that way it frees up my time to focus on these other projects that I'm excited about.
Right. And in terms of kind of building a super successful agency, you were able to take your agency to six figures in revenue in 2 years or under 2 years. What has been the key lessons or key challenges for you in terms of being able to kind of hit or break that kind of, six-figure revenue ceiling?
Yes, believe it or not, it's saying no. So when I first started my company, I accepted anyone and everyone, which I feel like kind of contradicts what we talked about earlier with niching down. But I accepted anyone and everyone who came my way, even though I had that gut feeling that we weren't a good fit. So the key differentiator now is that I will work with pretty much any business as long as I'm excited about their business and feel like we would have a good relationship. However, at the beginning, I just took on any project because I wanted the experience and money. And lo and behold, the clients that I had that gut feeling about, that I said to myself, oh, I don't know if it would work out, it actually didn't work out. And those were the clients who micromanaged, who took up a lot of my time, who caused me a lot of stress. And I realized that it's not worth it to work with those clients, because you can turn those clients away and have much more time to focus on the clients who appreciate you, value you, and take up much less of your time. And so that's one thing that I've really been particular about over the years, is that if I speak to someone that I just don't think I can support in the best way, I say no to the project. And that has definitely helped to leave room for the projects that are amazing and ones that I feel genuinely excited to work on.
Hmm. And in terms of the clients that you take on, are you looking for particular characteristics? For example, do they need to already be doing marketing, or do you need to actually educate them on the importance of marketing yourself first? I mean, where do you find them in that kind of spectrum of market sophistication, I suppose?
Yes. So majority of my clients know how to use social media and know how to do marketing on a pretty foundational level, but ultimately the reason why they hire me is because they just don't have time. And so what I look for in an ideal client is someone who, although they don't have time, they're still there to get us what we need to do the work that we need to do. So we need clients who are responsive. We need clients who have great photos and videos to share. And we need clients who feel really passionate about their work, because if they don't feel passionate about what they do, then how can we feel passionate about it too? So those are definitely like the main three traits that we really look for in bringing on new clients.
Hmm. That totally makes sense. Now, obviously, in your journey, you started off by yourself and you started hiring people as you went along. I suppose obviously with hires, it's always tricky whether it's going to work out or whether it's not going to work out. What are some of the lessons that you have learned in being able to build a team that is able to perform to your expectations?
Absolutely. So when I've been hiring, I've always looked for personality because you can teach skills, but you can't teach someone how to be a genuine human being. And so with that, when I'm looking for team members to hires, I look at their dedication, their passion, their creativity, their responsiveness, their timeliness. I look at different characteristics, be a genuine team player who's excited about our clients and the work that they do, who are willing to do anything and learn anything, then I know that I can easily kind of teach them the ropes of what we need to happen for our clients each day.
Hmm. And now I've spoken to a lot of people who kind of want to grow their business, but they don't want to bring people on because they feel like their margin keeps on shrinking, and they want to take home that juicy fat paycheck at the end of the month. What advice would you be willing to share with the people who feel like, actually, I don't want to take 10% of this much, but I'd rather take 50 or 100% of something that
Mhm.
adds up to be a bit more?
So that person was me before I hired people. I had that same struggle where I was like, can I really afford to pay people? And I just had that really internal struggle. What I realized is that in order to make more money, you have to spend money. Meaning, when you are a freelancer, you are automatically putting a ceiling on how much work you're able to take on because we literally run out of time. There's not enough time to do all the projects that we'd like to. But as you start to onboard new team members, that means that your capacity expands, which means that you're able to take on new projects, therefore make more money. And so that's one thing that I realized over time is that by taking on more projects, my margin is still actually really good in the sense that as I bring on more team members and bring on more clients, my profit is still increasing. So it means that it's kind of like a sliding scale almost.
Mhm.
So and that's one thing that I just realized was so important is that if you want to be able to make more money, you just really have to invest in a team and know that the returns will come back tenfold to you.
Right. And now you've got a team of 8 people to support you. How many clients can you support at any one time?
We have about almost like between 60 to 65. I can't remember the exact number,
Wow.
but yeah. So basically, each team member kind of has like a group of clients that they work with. So about each team member probably has maybe 10 to 15 clients that they're working with, anywhere from there. And so that's kind of like our whole structure moving forward is that we'll be having kind of like an account manager, I guess you could say, but kind of dedicating a certain group of clients to a team member and really focusing on those activities.
Hmm. Another key area with that you find a lot of people who are freelancing or kind of a micro agency owner struggle with is coming up with the right pricing, finding that right balance where they
Mm.
don't want to charge too little, but they don't want to, quote too high and then kind of, exclude themselves from the process of being selected. Um, how do you, or what does your pricing strategy look like? Do you have different tiers? Is it very much bespoke to clients' needs? What tips can you give in terms of pricing right?
So we have set packages for our services, but there are definitely many times where we will create a custom package or quote depending on what the client needs, because there are definitely people who come to us with specific and unique situations. But ultimately, what I did to be able to create those prices was actually a few things. So one, I've worked with a few business coaches. I've worked with two, and both business coaches actually told me to raise my prices both times. So they forced me to get into that habit. Secondly, one thing that I've done is I've actually tracked how long it takes me to do these tasks each month for clients because we charge monthly rates. So I'll track the amount of time it takes me to do that. So that way I know how many hours I'm spending. I can multiply that by my hourly rate to therefore kind of get that baseline of what I want to kind of need to cover. But then also I add in my expenses. So thinking about if I need to bring team members in, taking into consideration the rent that I pay for my office and other softwares that I may need to use, and therefore adding it into the overall price.
Right. So if someone wanted to start working with Dash Social, rather not Dash Social,
Mhm.
what would come in? Where do your prices start at for like a social media management package?
They start at 550 per month.
Right. Okay. And you mentioned that you also do SEO and seems like you're creating a lot of content. Do you run any paid ads for your clients as well? Do you have an ads agency side to your business?
No, we focus only on organic.
Right. Okay. That's interesting because a lot of people feel that, especially in the Facebook groups, everyone keeps on talking about Facebook ads and how to make the most amount of money and get the best ROI from Facebook ads. But I think, what our discussion is showing is you don't necessarily need to be running ads, being focused on immediate revenue to actually be able to build a successful freelancing or agency business, which is great to get this fresh perspective. Now, you've also got something going called Student to CEO. Tell us a bit about that.
Absolutely. So, Student to CEO is a passion project that I started almost a year ago on May 19th, 2020. I started it because, as you had shared and as I had shared, I started my business when I was in college. And so, starting a company is already really difficult, but I felt that I had a lot of additional challenges because of the fact that I was young. I hadn't had that corporate experience, so I didn't really know what the business world was like. I didn't know about things like setting prices up, like we talked about, or writing contracts, or getting clients, or really anything. So I spent a lot of time pretty much getting my hands on any and every resource I could, like podcasts, blog posts, webinars, just to learn about what it meant to be an entrepreneur. And so through the experience that I've had, I've especially had a lot of individuals around my age reach out to me and say, "You're so amazing. How did you do it? I want to start a business. What would you recommend?" And just asking me a ton of questions. And so I kind of realized that there was a need for something like Student to CEO, which is a platform that provides free resources for individuals who are looking to start a business. It just gives them the how, basically. And so just by seeing all these people, it made me realize that we need a place for these individuals to go to just learn what they need to do to really launch their dreams. And so I started it to be exactly a year after I graduated from college and therefore went full time. So that's where that May 19th date comes from.
Right. Okay. No, that's absolutely awesome. Now we're very quickly running out of time here, but Ashley, you are very inspirational. I can see why people would reach out to you to find out more about you. You've kind of managed to achieve quite a lot whilst also studying for your degree, which makes it even more amazing. Now, for those who want to find out more about your business or Student CEO, or they want to reach out to you, where's the best place to find you?
Absolutely. So my websites are dashofsocial.com and student2ceo.com. And then you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Dash of Social or at Student to CEO.
Awesome. Actually, one last question before I let you go here. Someone who's watching this and they are kind of, wanting to get into the agency world. I get approached by a lot of people who are students who want to set up a side hustle whilst studying. What's the best piece of advice you'd give them?
Surround yourself with mentors who have the business that you want to own one day.
Summed it up quite perfectly. On that note, Ashley Mason, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me, Abul.